leave. Another cell will head into Mississauga, leave. And again, some of these cells could be dropping around 20 millimeters of rain. So as that constantly happens, that's when we see the flooding in the area. This is a live look at the radar. I'm going to jump into that in a second, but I want to head it outside to Chrissy Van. And Chrissy, you look well covered out there. And, you know, again, we are back into the storms. We're back into the rain for Oakville. And there is a warning, severe thunderstorm warning right now for Oakville and Burlington.
That's true, Rachel. I mean, we could see 50 to 70 millimeters of rain now. It was so windy, I was getting myself drenched. The rain was practically coming down sideways, but definitely I'm going to send it back into you, Rachel, because I know with these thunderstorm warnings, there's a widespread area that's looking at torrential downpours as well as thunder and lightning.
Yes, absolutely, Chrissy. And thank you so much for being brave and for being outside this afternoon. And Chrissy was talking about the downpours and the flooding. Scarborough, that seems to be an area that was really hit with the flooding. We also have reports of 4 people being struck by lightning through there as well. So a very unfortunate situation. You will want to get inside. Now, let's focus in on the radar right now. The good news is it seems like these very strong cells are sinking south. And that's going to last throughout the night tonight. But as they continue to sink south, now we draw our attention. Now, this is a look at the severe thunderstorm watch. Now, warnings are embedded in this. We watch because the conditions look favorable, and then we warn when basically it's happening right now. Those severe storms are happening right now. So this is where we do see the warnings. Oakville, Burlington included in that. Now here we go, a look at our risk map. We told you yesterday that this is where we could be seeing the storms, and now we're telling you today, yeah, that's where we are seeing them. So it seems like the Greater Toronto area is sort of the bullseye. It's the target of all of these storms. But again, the risk is still very much there. We did see some very ominous looking clouds out of London, also through parts of Brampton as well. Thanks so much for sending in your photos. And also the videos have been great as well. If you do want to send videos into the Weather Network, shoot horizontally with your smartphone, because that allows us to give our viewers and to give you back the best picture when we play your videos here on the Weather Network. So again, the non-severe risk of thunderstorms throughout the day today. Now, Ontario has not been the biggest part of our weather story, also throughout other parts of the country as well. So we see these storms really popping up here through parts of Manitoba. We do have special weather statements in place. And then as we take a look at this is what Environment Canada has issued, severe thunderstorm watches. More on the active weather right across the country. Chrissy Van will also be joining us again next.
Go to the weather.
These powerful cells hit through Lake Ontario. Rachel Schoutsen here with you right now. Chrissy Van is coming up, and she's going to be talking about weather right across the country, because there is no shortage of content here on the Weather Network today. Now, look at this. This picture here, shot from the passenger window of the flooding happening right now in Scarborough. If you encounter a situation like this, so as we take a look at some of the watches right now, this is where it is. Windsor stretching up in towards the GTA, and then also out towards the Ottawa area as well. So this is where we're watching, but really the target area is Burlington, and it is basically Burlington and Oakville, I'm going to say, because that's where we are seeing the severe thunderstorm warnings still in place. So that's active weather happening right now. Now, I want to change gears and I want to switch our direction over to Chrissy Van, because Chrissy, we can't give Ontario all the attention today, because active weather, it's a story out through the western prairies as well.
It certainly is, Rachel. Again, not ideal conditions for those of you getting out and enjoying this last day of the holiday weekend. You can see.
Well, what a way to end the long weekend right now. Extreme potent cells like what has been popping up through southern Ontario. Rachel Schoutsen here with you. I'll be covering the Ontario story, and we also have Chrissy Van standing by, because active weather is not just happening in Ontario, it's happening right across the country. Now, let's dive into this radar. So we can see some of the strong cells, they are now starting to sink south. So if you live in Barrie, even towards Vaughan, if you see the clearing, you are going to be in the clear throughout the night tonight. So that's the good news. Now, striking across southern Ontario as these storms have pushed south. So we can see them really starting to develop. And did you notice this in the map? It's really concentrated towards the Greater Toronto area. We did have the risk of storms today right through southern Ontario, but again, it looks like the bullseye, the target area, to be the most populated area of southern Ontario. I also want to show you the severe thunderstorm watch. It is still in place for parts of southern Ontario. We can see now past us, which is definitely good news. Again, we were talking about the risks yesterday, today as well, so that's where we could be seeing the active weather, and that's where we have seen the active weather. Now, Chrissy, out of the Ontario story and into our national story.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Of course.
Well, you've come to the right place. Here at the Weather Network, we have been talking about these strong storms really causing some chaos through southern Ontario. Rachel Schoutsen here with you right now. Chrissy Van also standing by as we take a look at the national picture in terms of the active weather. But I want to zoom in our focus onto Scarborough and take a look at some of this localized flooding in the area. It has been definitely intense. We have been looking at some very heavy downpours, some stationary cells over the area, also some training. And what that means is a cell will move through Scarborough, leave, another one will come through, leave, and that means that the rain totals are really starting to accumulate through here, and that's why we're left with unfortunate situations like that, really talking about the flooding. Also talking about some localized flooding as well through parts of Burlington. I will be joining you from Burlington coming up in the show. I'll be heading out there shortly. Now, day today, so we can really see the target zone for the active weather was Barrie, stretching down right towards the Greater Toronto area. So that's where we really saw the cluster of some of the most significant storms moving through here. Lightning was a big concern. Unfortunately, we have heard reports of 4 people being struck by lightning in Scarborough. So we will bring you more on that story once we learn more about that here at the Weather Network. In terms of the watches, still in place. The non-severe storms could be popping up throughout the day today. And again, our target zone was very accurate in terms of where we saw that active weather. Now, Chrissy, we are seeing active weather right across the country. The holiday Monday, I know a lot of people now spending it indoors. So this all just happened today. Tropical Storm Bertha is now a hurricane, Category 1 hurricane. Now, could this be impacting Canada, and when? Let's take a look at that. This is the forecast track. So it is looking Wednesday in towards Thursday. That's when it could be the most present. And then for Thursday, looks like it could just clip areas of the Avalon out in Newfoundland. So that could be 50 millimeters of rain and also wind gusts up towards 90 kilometers an hour. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that. And I also want to show you this, another hurricane out in the Pacific. That's Hurricane Iselle, and that is making a straight beeline for Hawaii.
Let's check in with her now and see what she was seeing.
It is raining so hard here in Burlington, Ontario. Of course, we are watching for flooding in the area. Officials are present, yes, behind me here, and that's because they are doing surveys to see the natural gas in the area. A natural gas line has broken, and that has been causing some concerns. They do think too much gas could have leaked in Burlington, and that could send evacuations in place. Now, I can't ignore this. The torrential downpours. That's exactly what I'm standing in right now. Rumbles of thunder, cloud to cloud lightning. That's what I am seeing here. Our coverage today on the Weather Network, well, it's definitely been active.
Thanks so much for that, Rachel. And of course, let's check in with her.
I'm keeping you up to date here in Burlington, Ontario, and people in this neighborhood, they're standing at their doors, they're looking outside, they're looking at the media. Wow, do you hear that? Hear that thunder? Torrential downpours getting serious here in Burlington. And yes, people are outside. They're looking at the media. They're looking at the official presence as well. The firefighters, they're here and they are monitoring the natural gas line that has broken in the area. The creek was running so strong that the line has now snapped. So continuing on with this story here at the Weather Network and these storms through southern Ontario, keep it right here.
Thanks so much. Some good news. Rachel is now dry, but unfortunately some areas are not. You can see her from really just the last little while, but earlier today, Rachel Schoutsen was out in the thick of it.
Torrential downpours getting serious here in Burlington. And
thanks so much for that, Rachel. Luckily, she's a lot drier now at home, which is good news. You can see